Your support helps us grow. Hit the subscribe button and join our community today. My parents demanded I give $50,000 and my future to cover for my sister's crime. They said it was just a family mistake and told me to think about our name. But I told the truth, walked away, and let the fire spread. Now they call daily, but I don't answer. I'm Liam Bennett, a 24-year-old guy, and in my family, I've always been the dependable one. You know the type, the quiet helper, the one who pitches in, keeps the peace, never makes a fuss. Meanwhile, my 17-year-old sister, Sophie, has been treated like royalty since she could scream loud enough to get her way. I've brushed off so much over the years, thinking that's just what you do, keep your head down, take the high road. But recently, something snapped. One disaster too many. One decision that pushed me over the edge. And the moment I said no, I instantly became the villain. The version they tell now is all about how I destroyed everything. But what they don't mention are the lies, the cash, and the things they expected me to sweep under the rug. So yeah, here's the actual story. You tell me if I was out of line. Ever grown up in a house that didn't feel like yours? Like you technically live there, but it never feels like home? That's been my life. I'm the older sibling, and my sister, 7 years younger, has ruled the place from the moment she could scream. And I don't mean basic annoying sibling stuff. I'm talking VIP treatment, full main character energy. One time, Sophie got grounded at 12, cried for hours, and by the next morning, Mom was making her pancakes and apologizing for being too harsh. Meanwhile, I could ace all my classes, deep clean the garage, help cook dinner, and all I'd get was well, that's what you're supposed to do. They called me the strong one, the dependable one, like I didn't need anything. I used to take that as praise. It wasn't. It was just a way for them to ignore me while pouring everything into the one who yelled the loudest. Let's just call my sister Princess, because that's exactly how she was treated. Princess didn't do chores. Princess got a car at 16 just for errands, despite not having a license. Princess once threw a meltdown over not getting concert tickets, and somehow I got told to calm her down. It all escalated when my dad, David, got sick. Some lung issue, he couldn't work full-time anymore. Even walking across the yard wore him out. It sucked. So yeah, I stepped in. Took on side gigs between college classes. Helped cover rent, utilities, groceries. I didn't complain. Someone had to step up. Eventually, my mom, Karen, suggested we all start tossing money into an emergency fund in case David's health got worse or someone ended up in the hospital. Sounded smart. I was juggling tutoring gigs, food delivery, and work-study at college, but I still contributed real cash monthly, even when it hurt. Guess who didn't? You already know. Still, I did what needed to be done. Graduated college without debt, without loans, just exhaustion and a couple busted phone screens from passing out mid-scroll on the couch. But I made it. Graduated last spring. Got a job offer for the fall, out of state, solid pay, stable future. I came back home for the summer to save on rent. Told my parents I'd only be around for about a month. I'd chip in, cook, lay low. I thought maybe I'd catch a breather. Spoiler, I did not. Being back reminded me exactly why I left. Princess was still getting babied like she was 5. Left dishes everywhere. Took my stuff without asking. Crashed her car, then just started driving Karens like nothing happened. And when I pointed it out, let it go. She's still a kid. She's 17, not 7, and acts like she owns the house. My parents still playing favorites, still acting like I was overreacting, still telling me to set an example. Like I hadn't already been setting the damn standard for years. Like I hadn't been holding this family up since college. The breaking point, one day I came home from buying groceries, stuff I paid for, including extras for dinner. I walk in and find Princess scrolling through her phone, lounging on the couch, snacking on the stuff I literally just brought home. I asked, "Hey, can you at least help put things away next time?" She rolls her eyes, "Why are you so dramatic?" Before I could even get a word in, Karen chimes in, "Don't start a fight." I just walked away again. That was the entire summer in a nutshell, me holding things down, her doing whatever, and my parents acting like her mood was the center of the solar system. I remember lying in bed one night, lights off, headphones in, thinking, am I the only one seeing this? Do they really think this is okay? Like, I'm just supposed to keep being their backup parent and get treated like a ghost. I wasn't asking for trophies, just a little acknowledgement, a simple thanks maybe, we see what you're doing. But no, when you're the strong one, that's your reward, more wait until something breaks. And when it does, they look at you like, why'd you drop it? I told myself, just one more month, then I'm out. And that would have worked if not for what came next. It started with a party and ended with a lawsuit. But let's rewind. It was a Friday afternoon. I was chilling after work in my room, headset on, half watching a stream while working on a script for a small freelance gig. Not glamorous, but it paid better than pizza delivery. I was just counting down the days till I could finally leave and never deal with any of this again. Out of nowhere, there's a knock on my door. Before I could answer, it cracks open, and Sophie's face pops in. "Hey," she says, like we're besties, "are you using your car tonight?" I don't even pause the video. "Yeah." She huffs, "For what?" "I need it," I say flatly. "I've got work early tomorrow." She just stands there, like I didn't answer. "There's a party. Everyone's going." "No." "Why not?" "You don't have a license." "I'll be careful." I said no. She crosses her arms, like she's daring me to change my mind. I take off my headphones and look her dead in the eye. "No offense, but you already wrecked your own car." "This one? It's under my name, my insurance. I'm not risking it just so you can go sip soda with your TikTok crew." She rolls her eyes. "You're so dramatic." "Okay, still no." She stomps off without even closing the door. I hear her down the hall, probably whining to Karen. I figured that was the end of it. I went back to work. Later, gamed with some friends, headphones on, door shut. Didn't hear a thing. House was quiet when I came out around 11:30 to grab something from the kitchen. Lights low, TV off. No sign of Princess or either parent. Whatever. I figured she moved on or found another ride. I crashed around 1 a.m., exhausted. Didn't think much of it. But the next morning, that's when things started to feel off. Around 9 a.m., I stepped outside to grab something from my car. Birds chirping, sunny, typical suburb stuff. Then I saw it, front bumper scratched, bent. Not a light tap either. Bent like it hit something hard. And worse, there was blood, dried blood smeared near the passenger side. Not a lot, but the sight of it was enough to make my stomach twist. I crouched down for a closer look, and the front lower panel was scuffed up bad, like it had scraped against concrete or something hard. I just stood there staring, trying to make sense of it. I hadn't taken the car out since Thursday. I would have seen this. No way I missed it. Still wearing my shoes, I marched back inside and found Karen in the kitchen, fiddling with the coffee machine. "Did someone use my car last night?" I asked. She blinked at me. "What?" "My car. The bumper's messed up." She wouldn't meet my eyes. "Maybe you hit something and didn't notice." "I haven't driven it since Thursday." "Oh," she said, turning back to her coffee like that settled it. "Where's Princess?" "Still asleep." "Wake her up." "She had a late night." I narrowed my eyes. "So, she did go out." "She just needed to get out for a bit," Karen mumbled, as if that explained everything. "Did she take my car?" She didn't respond. "Karen, did she take my car?" "She said it would be quick," she snapped. "She was only gone for a couple hours." "You let her take my car after I already said no?" "She didn't take it from you," she replied, like that somehow made it okay. "Your dad said it was fine. She promised she'd be careful." I could feel my chest tighten. "So, you both went behind my back. You had your headphones on, door shut. We didn't want to bother you." I was floored. "You didn't want to bother me while handing over my car?" "She's your sister," she said, as if that erased any logic. "It was just one night." I didn't say anything else. I just turned and left before I exploded. Back in my room, I paced like I'd lost it. Checked my phone, no texts, no missed calls, not from her, not from them. No heads up, no apology, just silence, like they hoped I'd never notice. Like I wouldn't even look at my own damn car. Later that day, I caught David in the garage. "Why'd you let her take it?" He exhaled. "She said it mattered. We didn't think anything would happen. She doesn't even have a license." "She was careful." "No, she wasn't. There's blood on the bumper." He hesitated. "Maybe she hit a dog." I stared at him. "I'll take it in," he added quickly. "I'll cover the repair." "With what money?" "We've got the emergency fund. It'll pay for the damage." That hit a nerve. The emergency savings I helped build for health stuff? "That's what you're using because she wanted to party?" "It's still a family emergency," he said, like that line made any damn sense. She was scared. "This is nuts," I said. "Don't even think about touching the fund. I contribute to it. That means I decide what counts as an emergency." He shrugged. "Okay, we'll handle it." No apology, no ownership, just brushing it off like it was no big deal. I didn't know everything yet, but I knew they were hiding something. That weird calm parents get when they're trying to keep you from noticing the flames. And my sister? Not a word, acting totally normal, same smug grin, same fake laugh, like she hadn't stolen my car, trashed it, and left me to discover the damage and dried blood myself. At first, I told myself maybe they were right. Could have been a dog, a mailbox, something minor. But I knew how this house worked. I grew up watching them rewrite stories every time Princess messed up. They'd say she was still learning. But if I slipped up, you should have known better. So I kept quiet for now. But I wasn't about to forget. Not this time. And all week, something felt off. You know that vibe when people start being extra nice in a way that makes no sense? That's what it was. Karen suddenly asking if I needed anything from the store. David calling me son more than usual. Even my sister was quiet, not guilty quiet, but fake chill quiet, like if she smiled enough, I'd drop it. The car still sitting in the driveway, blood wiped away, bumper magically fixed, no invoice, no shop name, no paper trail, just David muttering something about paying cash. Super normal behavior. I let it slide. I had work. I was 2 weeks from moving across the country. Figured whatever they were hiding, they were too deep in to admit it now. I wasn't even going to keep pushing until Friday morning. Went out to grab the mail like usual. I was expecting a freelance check. Instead, I pulled out a thick white envelope with my full name on the front. No return address, just a weird weight to it. Didn't feel like good news. Opened it right there by the curb. I was being sued. Some guy, Jacob Martinez, was filing a lawsuit. Claimed he was hit by a car after midnight while crossing a side street. A car that drove off. Said it matched my car, same make, same model, same plates. I flipped to the evidence and nearly dropped it. Security cam stills, my car, headlights on, flying around a corner, in the driver's seat, blurry face holding up a phone, but I knew who it was. Next shot, the guy laid out on the ground, one shoe missing, part on the sidewalk. Then another, my car speeding away. $35,000 in damages, medical costs, legal fees, pain, and suffering. I walked into the house without a word, dropped the whole packet on the kitchen table hard enough to make Karen flinch. David looked up. My sister sat on the couch, pretending to scroll like nothing was wrong. What the hell is this? I asked. They stared like it was news to them. I pushed it closer. You're seriously going to pretend you didn't know? David cleared his throat. We were going to tell you after the hearing. Karen reached for the papers. I pulled them back. She hit a guy with my car and ran, and you just cleaned it up. She said he was okay, Sophie mumbled. Oh, okay, he's suing me for 35 grand, but hey, he lived. You're overreacting, David said. We handled it. You covered it up, and now I'm being dragged into court for something I didn't even do. He doesn't know it was her, Karen said. Only that it was your car. There are photos. You think his lawyer won't figure it out? You think I'm going to stand in court and lie for you? Calm down, David said, getting up. Number one, don't tell me to calm down. I said she couldn't take the car. You gave it to her anyway. And now you want me to just what, take the hit? Be the good son again? They didn't say anything. I could see it on their faces. They were hoping I'd get mad, then get over it, that I'd sigh, pay the fine, and pretend none of this happened. Not happening. You used the emergency fund, didn't you? I asked. Silence. David looked down. That told me everything. Unreal, I muttered. That fund was for you, for when your lungs give out, for when you land in the hospital. Now it's gone because she wanted to go clubbing. She didn't mean to, Karen said. She panicked. She panicked and ran. That's a felony. She's just a kid, David said. She can't go to jail. And me? I'm disposable? She needs you, Karen said. We all do. Don't, I snapped. Don't start the we're a family act now. You didn't need me when you gave away my car, when you emptied my savings, when you lied. You didn't need me then. We thought we could fix it, David said. We thought it would go away. Well, it's not going away, and neither am I. I'm not paying. I'm not lying, and I'm sure as hell not taking the fall. My sister tried to speak. I held up my hand. Don't. Just don't. You always make everything about you, she muttered. I turned and looked right at her. It is about me. It's my car, my name on the title, my name in the lawsuit, my future on the line. Karen started tearing up. Please, we'll pay you back. We just need help right now. No, you don't, I said. You need someone to bury the body while she walks away clean. David rubbed his face. We'll figure something out. Too late. I walked to my room, shut the door, and pulled out my laptop. Called a friend, Ryan, who's finishing law school, and asked, what happens if someone takes your car without permission and gets into a hit and run? Long story short, I had options, and I was about to use them. I stayed up most of that night filling out the report. It wasn't just a form. They wanted statements, timestamps, names, everything. I included it all, date and time I last saw my car, the fact that I said no, the exact moment I noticed it was missing, when I found the damage, the dent, the blood, the silence afterward. I even dropped in how I was blindsided by a lawsuit tied to my plate number. I didn't exaggerate or lie. I didn't have to. Around 2 a.m., I clicked submit, filed it as a stolen vehicle. I didn't sleep much after that. The next day was weird. I went down for breakfast like nothing happened. David was in his usual spot at the table, sipping coffee. Karen was pretending to scroll through recipes she never cooked. My sister wasn't even up. I sat across from them and ate toast in silence. None of them knew what I'd done. Yet by that afternoon, they would. Around 4 p.m., there was a knock at the door. Not loud, not aggressive, just official. Karen opened it, and I heard two voices introduce themselves as officers. That's when Sophie finally came downstairs, yawning like she just woke up from a nap she didn't deserve. I watched from the hallway while they asked to speak with her and my parents in private. David called me over, like I was part of the problem. "What's going on?" he asked. "I filed the report," I said. "What report?" "The truth," I said. "That my car was taken without permission. That it was involved in a hit and run. That I had nothing to do with it." Karen's jaw actually dropped. "You didn't." "I did." "You filed a police report against your own sister?" "No," I said, "I filed one about my car being stolen. The fact that she took it is just part of the story. She's 17, she snapped. This could ruin her life. And me getting dragged into a civil case won't ruin mine?" My sister stood frozen in the hallway, arms crossed, not even pretending to deny anything. She didn't look scared, just annoyed. The cops didn't arrest her or anything on the spot. They weren't even there for that. It was just a formal visit to verify details and confirm the report, but I could see it on their faces. They already had the surveillance pics. This was paperwork process. The real trouble would come later. After they left, the house exploded. "You really think this is helping?" Karen yelled. "Dragging your own sister into legal trouble?" "I'm protecting myself," I said, "something none of you seemed interested in doing. We were handling it." "No, you were hiding it," I snapped. "Big difference." "She didn't mean to," David added, like that somehow erased the damage. "She took my car without asking, hit a guy, left him in the street, and let me take the blame." "She panicked," Karen repeated, like a broken record. "And you too? What's your excuse?" They didn't answer. Then she pulled out the guilt card. "What happened to family helping each other? What happened to loyalty?" I laughed. "You mean my loyalty to you? That's what this has always been, me giving, you taking, her messing up, me cleaning it up." "That's not true," Karen said, almost reflexively. "Really? When you needed help with bills, I stepped in. When David got sick, I picked up extra jobs. When we made that emergency fund, who put the most in?" Silence. "And what happened the second she threw a tantrum?" "You took the car keys off the wall and gave them to her." David pointed a finger. "Don't act like you've been abandoned. We've always done our best." "No, you've always done her best. The rest was left up to me." My sister finally jumped in. "You're being a drama queen. You almost killed a man. It wasn't that bad." "You left him in the street," I said, stepping toward her. "You didn't even call 911. You didn't tell anyone. You just came home and went to bed." "I didn't know what to do." "You could have told the truth." "I was scared." So was he, except he didn't have the luxury of walking away. I looked at my parents for backup. Of course, they stepped in. "She's still young," Karen said. "Her brain isn't fully developed." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You're defending her like she stole candy. She committed a crime. A real one. And now you're mad at me for not taking the hit?" David stepped forward. "So, what's your plan then? Let her get arrested? Go to court? You want to see your sister behind bars?" I stood still. "I want you to stop expecting me to light myself on fire to keep her warm." Karen started crying, not like sniffles, full-on sobbing, like I just betrayed them. "You're so cold." "No," I said, "I'm just finally done. You can't do this to us." "I didn't do anything. That's the whole point." That night, I packed my things early. I had 2 weeks before my move, but I called a friend, Chris Evans, across town and asked if I could crash on his couch for a while. He said yes without even asking why. Before I left the next morning, David tried to corner me at the front door. "She's your sister," he said quietly. "You're really going to turn your back on her like this?" I looked him dead in the eye. "You all turned your backs on me years ago. I just finally noticed." And I left. I moved out the next morning. Took everything that mattered, my laptop, clothes, documents, and threw them in the back seat. Left the bed, desk, and the rest of the stuff I didn't care to touch again. Didn't leave a note. Didn't say goodbye. I just walked past David reading the paper like nothing had changed and Karen whispering into her phone like she was planning a rescue mission. They didn't stop me. Chris let me crash on his couch, no questions, no awkward small talk, just tossed me a pillow and a spare blanket. I slept better that night than I had in months. 2 days later, the real fallout started. A second notice from the court came, but this time it didn't land in my mailbox. It went to my parents. Since Sophie was a minor and the actual driver, the court redirected civil liability to the legal guardians. And because they tried to cover it up, they were being pulled in under negligence and civil liability. Everything was unraveling fast. I didn't call. I didn't check in. I found out about it from my aunt, Diane, who texted me, confused, asking what the hell was going on. I ignored it. The lawsuit didn't just stay at $35,000. The moment the plaintiff's lawyer found out there had been a cover-up, a delay, and that someone had filed a false report of a fender bender, it escalated fast. They now wanted $50,000, medical bills, legal fees, emotional damages, delays in treatment, trauma from the hit and run. The guy had a broken leg, cracked ribs, and a concussion. He missed work for a month. And now that Sophie's identity was confirmed through the police report I submitted, she was officially listed as the driver. They couldn't wiggle out of it anymore. David tried negotiating a settlement. Didn't work. The other side wasn't interested in good faith. They wanted blood, or at least a check big enough to remind them not to let their teenager use someone else's car and pretend like nothing happened. Karen tapped into the college fund they'd saved for Sophie. Every cent gone. Tuition, books, dorm, everything she was supposed to use next year, all transferred into the plaintiff's lawyer's trust account. Didn't even make a dent. They had to borrow the rest. A week later, I got a text from Karen, the first time since I moved out. She begged me to reconsider helping them, said we were family, said they'd forgive me if I took partial responsibility and testified that I gave her the keys under pressure. I read it twice and left it on read. Then I blocked her number. David tried to, voicemail, long dragging tone like he was the one who'd been wronged, something about pride and responsibility. I forwarded it to my lawyer, told him to document everything. That was the last time they reached out directly. 3 days later, my lawyer submitted a cease and desist letter for all forms of communication. They crossed the line, and I was done letting them crawl back over it. The court date came quick. I didn't go. I wasn't on trial anymore. My report had made that clear. I wasn't liable, I wasn't the driver, the vehicle was used without my consent. And the insurance company backed that up after reviewing the statement and the footage. Legally, I was out of it. Insurance backed me, too. They reviewed the statement and the footage, confirmed she didn't have permission, and denied the claim. But they weren't. My sister stood in front of the juvenile court judge in a navy dress, like she was trying to look responsible for the first time in her life. My parents sat stiff behind her. I wasn't there, but I got the full summary later. The judge didn't go soft. She was sentenced to 6 months in a juvenile detention facility, plus 300 hours of community service, a record sealed if completed without incident, but it would still follow her until she turned 18. The $50,000 in damages fell squarely on my parents. The judge made it clear the attempt to cover up the incident was a major factor in the penalty. They had enabled it, and they would pay for it. After the ruling, they tried again, this time through my aunt, Diane. She texted me saying Sophie was asking about me, like that made up for everything. Still no apology, just more fishing for a reaction. I didn't respond, not because I didn't care, because I knew talking would only reopen the wound. There wasn't a version of that conversation that didn't end with them begging for something again. Chris gave me space. I stayed at his place for 2 more weeks before I moved into a small apartment near my new job. It wasn't much, second-floor unit, thin walls, weird smell in the hallway, but it was mine. No guilt trips, no lies, no one knocking on the door asking for money or favors or, just this one time. I kept my head down at work, didn't talk much about my family, just told people I moved for the job and wanted a clean slate, which wasn't a lie. By the end of the month, I had my first real paycheck. I bought groceries, set up my internet, paid rent, and still had money left over. I sat on the couch that night, eating instant noodles with a fork, and felt something I hadn't felt in years, peace. I still thought about them sometimes. The way Sophie used to laugh when we were little, the way David used to help me with math homework before everything got heavy, Karen used to sing in the kitchen on Sundays. But those people, they weren't the ones I left behind. The ones I left behind were the same people who used my savings, lied to my face, and then expected me to clean up their disaster like it was my job. They weren't my family anymore, not in the way that mattered. The trial didn't just empty their bank account. It gutted their entire sense of control. After the court ruling, I went silent, no messages, no calls, just stayed focused on work and tried to pretend I didn't grow up in that house. My lawyer confirmed that everything tied to me was clean. I was no longer liable for anything, no more meetings, no more letters. A month passed, then 2, and then around month 3, I heard she was back. My sister, she was sentenced to 6 months in juvie, but she didn't serve the full term. First-time offender, clean record, and she didn't act out inside, so yeah, early release after 3 months. I didn't go see her, didn't ask how she was doing, but word travels fast in families that can't mind their own business. My Aunt Diane texted me one sentence, "She's back home." That was it. Apparently, she came back changed, quieter, slower, less full of herself. Maybe Juvie shook her. Maybe she was just tired. Either way, she wasn't the same little queen who used to stomp around like the house owed her something. That part of her died in there, but the damage was done. The family was already wrecked. My parents were underwater, financially and mentally. The college fund was gone. The retirement savings, gone. Their so-called safety net vanished overnight. The emergency fund that disappeared the moment they dipped into it to cover the car repairs, damage they caused but never owned up to. Even the sentimental jewelry my grandmother Margaret passed down, they pawned it. Anything with even a hint of value, they grabbed, sold, borrowed against, or used as leverage. But what stung worse than the financial mess was their complete denial. They wouldn't admit to any of it, not even a sliver of accountability. About 2 weeks after Sophie came back, they pulled what would be their final stunt. I remember that evening clearly, coming home from work, exhausted, groceries cutting into my fingers, sweaty, drained, and just wanting to collapse. As I climbed the steps to my apartment, I froze. There they were, both of them, sitting calmly like it was any other day, like they hadn't turned my world upside down. Karen stood up as soon as she saw me. David didn't wait for a greeting. They looked off, not angry, not even sad, just desperate. But underneath it all, I could still see that same smugness, that familiar look they always wore when they thought they were delivering some deep truth I was too naive to grasp. I said nothing, just kept walking past them toward my door. "You can't keep ignoring us," Karen called out behind me. I stopped and turned to face her. "You're standing outside my place after I explicitly asked for no contact," I said flatly. "We needed to see you," she said, pleading. "You could have written a letter, like your lawyer. That would have been respectful." "That was cruel," she snapped, suddenly offended. "You don't treat family like that." I dropped the grocery bags next to my door and folded my arms across my chest. "You're right," I said. "You don't. Yet here we are." She pressed on, "We're falling apart. Your sister's a wreck. Your father's health is declining. We're doing everything we can." I didn't respond. I just stood there, watching them squirm. Then she dropped the line, the one I'm sure she'd been rehearsing all day, maybe all week: "You ruined this family." I didn't flinch, not even a blink. "I hope you're proud of yourself," she added, bitterness soaking her voice. "After everything we did for you, this is how you repay us. You're heartless." There it was, you turned your back on your own blood. Then David jumped in. "You could have fixed this. You could have helped her. Instead, you chose to destroy everything." I looked them both in the eyes. "She hit someone with my car. She ran. You helped her cover it up. You drained our savings. You lied. And somehow I'm the one who burned it all down?" "She's your sister," Karen cried. "You should have protected her." "I did protect this family my whole damn life, paid bills, kept quiet, stayed out of the way. The one time I finally decide to protect myself, and suddenly I'm the villain?" She broke right there, full on sobbing, tears streaming like I'd just thrown her into the street. David turned his face away, unable to look at me anymore. I picked up the bags and walked inside without another word. They didn't follow. That night, I forwarded everything to my lawyer. He logged the incident and issued an updated no-contact warning. One more boundary crossed, and we'd file for a restraining order. I didn't want it to get to that point, but I wasn't about to wait around for them to start ambushing me at work or slipping notes under my door. They went silent after that. Really silent this time. But this silence wasn't passive, like before when they pretended I didn't exist unless they needed something. This was different. This was the silence of people who had finally realized the door was closed and locked for good. I heard Sophie eventually started her community service, parks, thrift stores, maybe some kind of counseling program. Diane said she barely goes out anymore, that she doesn't talk much, that some nights she wakes up crying. I don't feel good about that, but I don't feel bad either. She never once apologized. Not a single text, no message, not even a half-hearted, "Sorry you got caught up in this." Just radio silence. Meanwhile, Karen still puts on a show for Facebook, posts about family dinners with her beautiful girl, claiming she's proud of how strong they've stayed. Her feed is a collage of filtered lies, all pastel-toned smiles and fake positivity. No court dates, no mention of the $50,000 they still owe, no sign that I ever existed. Work kept me grounded. I started running in the mornings again, cleaned up my diet. Chris and I still hang out now and then, grab a bite, laugh about the old days. Life isn't perfect, but it's mine now, no guilt, no manipulation, no more, "What are you going to do for us now?" Their little stunt didn't last anyway. With the lawsuit debt piling up and no lifeline in sight, they were forced to sell the house. And no, it wasn't some tragic foreclosure. They listed it themselves once it finally sank in that nobody was coming to rescue them. David moved in with his brother, tiny house, no spare room, just a fold-out couch in the basement. Karen and Sophie ended up at my grandma Margaret's, and from what I hear, it's already a mess. Margaret never liked Karen's gentle parenting. The day they arrived, she started locking up her car keys. They made that bed. I'm not the one sleeping in it anymore. I'm not angry. I'm not bitter. I'm just done. They used to call me the reliable one. Now I'm just the one who walked away. And honestly, that's the best decision I ever made.